Tonight, it looks like a scene from the Fast and the Furious.
Not everybody who comes to these car meets is driving recklessly. Those that are ruining it for everybody.
Cars aren't just a reckless hobby. If you think that it's just street racing and burnouts, you've been fooled. In this show, we take a look at how lifestyle, community, and culture has been shaped by one of the world's largest industries. I'm your host, David, and this is the Fuel Cap Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I gotta get the money pillow in there. $100 bill pillow. All right.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, guys. It is episode 17 of Fuel Cap. Today, we are recording this on February 21st. This is the first pre-recorded format episode with a guest. So this is exciting. We're talking to JasonLevy. I've known him for a few years. How you doing, Jason?
What's going on, guys? My name is Jason. Just like David said, I'm a pretty big enthusiast in the car community. I have loved Nissans and Infinitis since day one. So I'm pretty excited to share my opinions and my aspects on a lot of different things.
Yes. All right. So that's perfect. We'll jump right off of that. Nissans and Infinitis. You own a Q50. So
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's how I first met you. Actually, you asked me to take pictures.
Yes, sir. I remember when I first hit you up asking for a photo shoot on my car. I just got it. It was like my everything. That thing still is, but it's definitely been through a lot of stuff that we all know about. And
been through quite a few.
I've been through quite a lot,
more than most cars.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. But it's still here, still pushing. It's about to be on motor number 3.
What? I didn't know about this.
Motor number 3. Yeah, motor number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely still pushing though. It's still pushing. It's a great car. I always advocate for Infinitis, Nissans. I just think that they're very capable cars, despite certain small issues. No car is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
No matter what you expect from a vehicle, it's always going to have its fair share of hiccups. It's never going to be exactly what you want. So anyone kind of hating on Nissans and Infinitis, it's just kind of like I can hate on BMWs the same way, but I'm not going to, because every car's got its own issues.
Right.
And personally, in my experience, my car has been nothing but reliable. My car has been there for me whenever. Yeah. So I honestly highly advise anyone who's looking for a nice luxury sedan, nothing crazy, it's not like an M3 or anything, but gets you from point A to point B. And with a tune, easy 550 wheel horsepower, you're up there. You're up there.
Except for the fact that you just said you're going to be on a third engine.
Listen, that's a lot to do with the accidents, though. You know that. Yeah. My accidents have been very strenuous on the car.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could even that accident with that Colts Neck Cup definitely ruined it. Definitely killed it.
Yes. So for those of you watching or listening that don't know about this accident, basically it was the cop's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you want to go in more detail, but essentially.
So long story short, I was driving from Brookdale to the Freehold Mall, Brookdale Community College in Lincroft, New Jersey, and I was just driving, and there was a lot of construction going on at this intersection. I made a right at the intersection, and this huge line of traffic, and right at the end, this cop was like pulling out. And when he pulled out, I tried to stop, and I couldn't stop, and it just kind of like had a little intersection there, and I took off his entire front bash bar. That thing went with my car. My whole fender peeled back. I hit a pole and shot across to the other side of the road, and they pinned it on me. They said that I was a reckless driver and stuff like that. But listen, we don't talk about the lawsuit. We don't talk about all that.
Yeah,
what happened. It's all good. It's all good. My car is here at the end of the day, and so is my license. That's all that matters. So yeah.
Yeah. So everything eventually comes around for the better, and hopefully sure. Engine number 3, third time's a charm. So we'll see.
Yes, sir. Third time's a charm for sure.
Yeah. But having an exciting car like that is definitely a good way to kind of meet people, and that's how you and I met. I was taking pictures.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember when we originally linked up. I was like so excited to take photos and to have photos taken on my car rather. And your camera was like so sick. I was like, damn, what is this? And you were like, it's DSLR. And like that whole night I was looking up DSLRs and like what the hell DSLRs were. Because I didn't know what the hell they were. I only knew about like digital cameras and things like that. I was fascinated by portrait mode on my iPhone. That's literally all I knew. I wasn't super into it. And seeing all this technology and everything, it got me into like photos and videography and stuff like that. I always wanted to do it on my own. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's definitely cool. And having your own take as a photographer on a lot of different things, it's a pretty unique way to look at things, and I think it's a very unique way to give your perspective. Yeah. I remember multiple times we've done multiple photo shoots in so many different places. When we did our photo shoot at Bell Labs. Yes. And I remember that was the first time I was there, and then I remember I was telling you I thought this place was like a conspiracy theory. It was always weird. Remember?
I still think that's
that place is creepy. That place is real creepy.
It's cool.
But yeah, it is definitely cool. And from there is just seeing my car. I know, like I think I told you this before. It's like every time we had a photo shoot, it was like my car was in like a different stage of its life cycle in a sense.
I know.
Remember,
yeah.
When it was dead stock. The second one was when I had the rims powder coated, and that was like after my first little hiccup with the car. And then we did the third one right before I got into the accident with the cop. And what's it called? And then after that, we were going to do that video. I don't know if you remember, we were going to do that video, but we never got around to doing it. Yeah, we started it. And then that's when my car was gone for good for like months. It was in dealership or wherever. But like I have like photos. If I compare like photos of every single car, every photo from every single shoot we had, it's like my car was in like this stage. And it's just like cool.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've never really realized, but yeah, your car is probably the only car that I've had pictures of it. Oh, almost. I think actually every stage. Almost
every except the latest one. Latest stage, not yet, but we'll set something.
I think last time I took pictures, you had the new wheels, like the current wheels you have. And I don't think that you had.
Yes, it was in Atlantic City.
Yeah. Has anything changed since then?
I have a spoiler. That's about it.
Yeah.
And window
tins. That's
spoiler and window tins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got on the car. Otherwise,
do another shoot off the hook.
We'll redo it. We'll redo it for sure.
Yeah. Sweet. But so talking about Atlantic City, that was supposed to be a big meet, but the rain unfortunately
that killed everything. The rain definitely did get in the way. We were looking for a big turnout. Being vice president of Elusive Jersey, it was something that we, in management at least, we were looking forward to for a very long time. The leaders at Street Breed, Asphalt Apes, who else was I keep forgetting the names, but there was multiple different crews involved. 732 was involved. Yeah. There were a lot of different names involved, and we were working tirelessly almost every single day to get permits, licenses, a lot of commitments. We were trying to get vendors, food trucks, and everything like that. We wanted to do we were kind of inspired, I feel like, by Ratchet Friday.
Yeah.
In a sense. We were inspired by Ratchet Friday and the lack of a Ratchet Friday in so long. And we kept pushing, and we were like, you know what, it's going to rain. But we're going to have to figure something out. And we did our best
to paid for like permits and stuff for the lot. So you kind of have to follow through.
Exactly. And we worked really hard. We were on video calls endlessly.
I was there in the group chat. I was there for some of the calls.
Exactly. You were there. Yeah, it was definitely stressful. But listen, it was kind of like a precursor for something we want to have done pretty soon. Like we want to redo it. And try to do it properly this time. Hopefully rain won't be able to screw us over, and we'll have a bigger potential. But still, the night was fun. We definitely did get to hang around with a lot of cool people. We did the photo shoot of my car with Celine. And what else? And then that night we stayed in Hard Rock Hotel. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
I remember when we pulled up, there were so many nice cars and everything. Like there was a lot of people still staying in AC. They came over for all the fun, and they still enjoyed themselves, which is good. It's good to look back at that and see that people really did have a good time at our event.
Yeah, no, I think the people who were there did enjoy it. Like, yeah, it could have been a lot bigger, but I think it was a much more close knit group of people. Like there was a lot more connection. I actually met that kid, he was really into photography. I was talking to him for most of the night. I don't remember his name. I have to hit him up actually.
Yeah, I remember you guys were clicking.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
holding up the light. He was
Yeah,
holding up the light
he
for
was my light
Celine.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
gotta
was.
reconnect with him because he's not far from me. Um,
Oh, really? He's local?
yeah, he's like I think he's like 10 minutes away from me. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
I wanted to get him on some shoots with me because he's not only a good assistant. I see a lot of potential, so I did want to teach him a bit and then have him maybe even grow past me. But
Yeah, he's talented. He's
yeah,
talented. He seemed like he knew what he was doing.
wow,
I remember
I feel bad for
he
him,
was
isn't it?
calling out. No, he was calling out like all the like what was it?
Oh, all the
The
different lighting. He was holding the light, and he's like, because I'm like pretty much self-taught. Like I just know like where to put the light that it looks good.
yeah,
And he knew all the
yeah.
technical terms for it, and
Yeah, I was
what?
standing there. I was like, "Yo, what is this guy talking about?" Like, I just thought he just had to hold the light over here, and that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No,
and
dude,
he
it's a
just went all
science.
into it, and I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "Yo, there's a lot to it. It's just pretty cool to see." Like, I really appreciate when someone knows their craft, when someone knows what they're really passionate about.
Hmm.
And that's honestly a really big thing that we kind of hold up and rather value in Elusive.
Yeah.
And a lot of our members are really, really, really passionate about their cars. For example, Ruben, he's one of my closest friends. His name is Ruben. That was not a proper introduction, but I have a friend named Ruben. He has a S2000, an AP1. It is
Hmm.
a beautiful car. He really, really, really like. He was so excited to get it. I remember. And unfortunate events happened. He ended up macking the car a little bit, nothing
Oh
crazy,
no,
but
he did.
the car was still repairable though. He got
Okay,
it
good.
fixed and it was back up and running for a while. And now it spits flames, and it's a nice
Sweet,
car. It's a really nice
sweet.
car. And seeing he's coming from like I think it's an 8th gen Honda Civic, and it was not an SI. It's like a base model. He had a
Hmm.
freaking Type R wing on it, and it had some crazy like burble tune or something, and it was like popping like crazy. It sounded raspy. It sounded like like the typical Honda stereotype,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like on crack. And seeing him come from that to what he has right now, it's like I feel like it's what we value most in a club like ours. Just it's not all about having like the craziest car or something. It's just the passion, the persistence behind it, the ability to know what you're doing when it comes to this type of thing.
yeah.
And that's what I value and respect a lot. So, and that's what we look for in our club as well.
So why don't we talk about that a little bit? So, Elusive, you're the vice president of Elusive.
Yeah, I'm
I
the
know
vice president of
you
the
guys
Jersey
are all
chapter.
um, kind of you collaborate a lot with other local clubs too. So why don't you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
So let's start with Elusive. So Elusive itself was founded in Canada. It's
Was it
a
really?
Canadian club. Yeah, it's a Canadian club.
Okay.
Yeah, and the main club still exists over there in Toronto.
I didn't know.
Everyone over there is pretty cool. We keep in contact with each other. But it's a brand, it's a business. It's registered, so we have a certain standard we have to uphold ourselves to. We can't, just like run it how we want necessarily, but we do rather, because we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of potential. We have a lot of concepts that we always want to implement. And we're honestly one of the chapters that's always bringing new things, new ideas to the table. And I'm really proud to say that, because I just love seeing our progress and what we want to go into with the season. Hopefully, it's going to be a real big game changer.
Yeah.
And so like what I was saying, the club based in Canada. There's lots of clubs all across. There's lots of Elusive chapters across the states. We have some in Cali. We have some in Florida. And
Okay. So that's why
yeah,
you guys are
it's
Elusive Jersey on Instagram.
yeah, exactly. So but like I said, we're like a really big, prominent chapter.
Hmm.
We do a lot of work, and it shows. We collaborate with clubs like Street Breed, clubs like Invictus.
Yeah.
Here in Jersey, we collaborate with 732. We collaborate with Asphalt Apes, and
Yeah.
all these people are not just like, they're not just clubs to us anymore. Like they're part of like our family. We have
Yeah.
such a big group of people, such a big loving group of people that we just love to collaborate with. And aside from collaborate with, we love hanging out together. We all click, and the entire the chemistry that we all have, it's something that I honestly, like, I'm always so proud to talk about, because it just seems like something um out of like, kind of like out of like a story. Like, we all just come like out of nowhere and we all just click,
Yeah.
and we can just make something truly magical happen all the time, and we enjoy each other's company, and that's not something everyone can say about people that they work with, in a sense. So honestly, I'm very grateful to say that these people are amazing. Nick from Street Breed, then there's Nick from Asphalt Apes. They're leaders of both the clubs respectively. They're such great people, and it's just like seeing the way that they kind of like maintain their clubs, the way that they treat their members and everything. We all kind of take from each other, and we're able to kind of just like expand our ability to run our clubs properly and things like that. And it's just a great chemistry that we all have, something I honestly wouldn't ever trade for anything else.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's honestly awesome.
So how did the Jersey chapter of Elusive get started again?
So there's a lot of history to the Elusive Jersey chapter that unfortunately I wasn't even here for.
Okay.
This was before
someone's told this to me. Like, I forget who I asked. I think it was at the Atlantic City meet. I asked somebody, and it was like I didn't retain half the information.
Yeah, there's a lot of history to the Jersey chapter. And like I said, I wasn't here for a lot of it. I'm VP since towards the end of 2020.
Yeah.
That's when and Philip. I know you've met Phil. Phil is the current president of Elusive Jersey. There was another president. He also had a challenger, funny enough. But he was, I don't know if he was like kicked out or something, but like he's not a member anymore. And the old VP, I kind of like replaced her in a sense, but not like in a bad way. She's still a member, actually. She's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of history, but I wasn't here for it. So honestly, the only history that I know about was ever since I joined the club. I know me and Phil clicked, and he saw potential in me. So that's why I honestly, I'm really grateful that he chose me to be his VP. Nice. Because I feel like we can honestly make something pretty cool happen.
Yeah.
The club is.
I mean, the club has grown so much since. Well, I didn't know about the club until after you got involved, and then when I was paying attention, like, you guys were small. Like, you guys were pretty small compared to now. Like, you guys grew a lot in the past.
Yeah, we did. We grew pretty considerably, and it's something that I'm really, really proud of. Honestly, it's a great feeling to have. To have like just to have an audience, have a platform, and know that people actually pay attention.
Yeah.
Because we do have a lot to sort of state with our meets and our presence in general within the car community.
Yeah.
Which is something that is very controversial, and whether it be within the eyes of the general public looking down on the car community, or members of the car community themselves looking down on the car community, it's just like there's so many different perspectives, so many different opinions, and it's just like a shit show in a sense. Like it's a big mess of opinions.
Yeah, no, that's honestly accurate. Like, last week, I in the last podcast, I did a Q&A, and one of the questions was like, how would you describe the Jersey car community to someone who's like, not from the scene? And I was just like, I would say probably like a state of conflict. Like, there's so many like just different takes on everything that, like, we're not unified as a group. So especially, you being a vice president of a car club, like, you see all of that firsthand, and like it directly affects you, and the decisions you make kind of directly affect the car community as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because being in a position of power in a sense like that, you just kind of begin to understand that there's a lot of things you can do that can sort of affect the number one, it can affect the perception of the club, which in turn affects the like the way we are able to represent the car community as a whole.
Yeah.
And it can be both positive and it can be both negative, which is obviously, you know, something that we take great pride in considering before we make any moves or anything like that. And so far, I feel like just the audience we've garnered, it's been a good audience, an audience I can say we're pretty happy to have, because the way that our members, number one, and on top of that, our followers are able to represent us with stickers or anything like that, even just repping our name, it means something. And, you know, we stand for the ability for us to just express our passions. And that's something a lot of clubs these days stand for, but it's still something that matters. It's not something generic. It's still, you know, a prevalent topic. And it's also something that we don't see enough of, unfortunately, despite so many clubs pushing for it and so many clubs wanting to just have peace in the car community. In a sense, it's just not enough. It's not enough, and it's become sort of problematic.
No, I know, that's for sure. That's absolutely true. But how do you, like, what is your guys' audience? Because I would say, like, you know, between Elusive and like Street Breed, you know, all the other local crews, like, you all kind of have a similar audience. But like, how would you like define that? Because like, to me, like, you know, I see these cars coming out, but I don't personally know most of the people. But like someone like you probably would. So like, how do you like gauge your audience, and how do you know who your audience is, and how do you tailor your events to them?
So
that was a lot. That was a lot in
No, you're good. No, you're good. No worries. Let me throw it back to AC real quick.
Yeah.
So that whole event, just the concept rather of a private paid event where we are able or allowed to be in the lot is a concept that we all of the clubs in the area that we've all been trying to implement it for a while.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. Granted, when we don't have a lot of our own, because we're not using our own lot, we're using someone else's lot.
Right.
So when we use someone else's lot, we have certain standards, we have certain rules, we have certain regulations that we have to abide by, but they're not typically, you know, super, you know, like strict or anything like that. It's just don't do a burnout, or don't leave skid marks on the ground, because that's technically vandalism, that's technically damage to the property, and things like that are obviously something we want to avoid. A paid lot sort of gives us control over what's going on. We like in AC, we were looking to have police presence. We did have security there.
Yeah.
It was a guarded event in a sense where we could control what is being done and who is allowed in, who's not.
Yeah.
And this is something a bit more difficult to do in our area, because we're like dead in the middle of a suburban area where we have just one main highway, Route 9, intersecting all these towns. And a lot of these lots are a ShopRite, a Trader Joe's, a dealership, or a mall. And it's just become like so difficult to find a lot that's not owned by some big corporation that we can't get in touch with very easily, that we can use and possibly have be like a kind of like a home in a sense.
Yeah.
And this is what's led to such a divide in the car community, between like the whole park and chill full send type of thing.
Yes, this is
we'll get into that.
Our bigger discussion that we
but
have
this is foreshadowing right here. Exactly. But what was I saying? So the whole like audience that we are looking to have represent us, rather not like represent, but rather just follow us, you know, kind of support us, is it's kind of leaning more towards the people that just want to vibe out, hang out, maybe put a hookah in their trunk and smoke one in a nice parking lot where there's some music blasting and everyone's kind of hanging out. But you get what I'm trying to say. That whole concept, like I feel like that's what we want more than anything.
Yeah. Like
and maybe further down the.
You want to create an environment where people can kind of show up with their cars, vibe out, have a good time, just like super relaxed, not not worrying about anything, just kind of like an escape from the regular like day-to-day life. Exactly.
And park and chills in a sense are a good way for the community to get together and just like, what's the word? Like, sort of just like get to know one another and just bond. Like you don't have to like know each other.
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to like somehow be affiliated with one another. It doesn't have to be a friend of a friend. Like, no, I could see this. I drive a Q50, but I see this guy in a nice Golf, and I could go up to him and be like, "Yo, you have a really nice car," and we just build a connection.
Yeah.
It's a relaxed vibe. It's a vibe where everyone can sort of feel like able to go up to anyone and not be judged, because we're all there for the same purpose. There's no divided group of people who want to do this here and people who want to do this here. No, we're all here to hang out. We're all here to chill.
Yeah.
We're all here to relax, and we're all here to enjoy one another's company despite us not necessarily knowing each other, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And just the whole concept. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I'm sure that's kind of like how you guys, like all the different crews, like that's how you guys all met and are working together and combining each of your different audiences for that very reason.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And obviously, you know, we might not be followed by the same exact people. Like, you know, Joe might follow me, but Tom might follow Street Breed. But we all have the same ideas. We all have the same visions in a sense. And granted, we do have some differences. We do kind of, you know, our members might be a little bit different or things like that. But it's not going to change the fact that we all just want the same thing. We just want a positive vibe in this car community.
Yeah.
And it's not well known. I want that to be our our mission, and I want that to be heard in our voice whenever we post, whenever we appear in public. Just the fact that we're just there for positive vibes. We're not there for anything else. You know, we just want to be cool. We just want to chill. That's all.
Yeah. No, I respect that.
And honestly, there's nothing wrong with, you know, trying to, you know, like mess around a little bit, you know, do a donut or something. Like, it's whatever. Like, we all have nice cars. It's a given, you know, and we want to do that. But I feel like until we have our own property that we're not vandalizing to do something like this, I feel like only then we can feel comfortable enough to do it. You know what you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, let's say, for example, like Elusive Jersey, like we all split on a warehouse, or we all split on a huge lot that we can call our own, that we are property owners of, and, you know, having like our own space like that.
Yeah. So I like where you're going with this, because this is actually something I've been wanting to talk to you specifically about because of like your involvement with Elusive. And you know, for your listeners, you're hearing it here first too. I've been wanting to basically like I have this podcast, and like it's awesome. Like, you know, I could do it in my room and everything, but like eventually, like, you know, once I'm starting to do podcasts in person, like I'm gonna need a space. And I was like thinking, like, how cool would it be to like have a space that, like, it'll fill my need for like a studio to do the podcast, and also like just a place to like kind of do ethanol feed related business like outside of my home, you know. But also be a space that people can just show up to, that they know is a safe space. They could hang out with their cars, you know, have like smaller meets
100%.
maybe. And like,
100%.
maybe, you know, maybe it's like a membership thing, like certain like members get certain perks, like maybe a little like bar or something, or like some sort of food accommodations, like something
100%.
super chill, like similar to like a classic car club Manhattan, but on a smaller scale, because they're very like, you know, upscale, like, you know, big, like you have to have money to be a member, like it's not cheap to be a member. Like, it's something I want to be more accessible for people in our area who are like, you know, college students. Like a lot of people in car community are college students, so like I want it to be accessible to them. Like anybody can show up in the day and just hang out there, but then maybe like membership, or there's membership perks or something, or even just space for clubs to host meets.
Yeah, of course. And it's like a private area, something that, no, it's like as if we had our own Raceway Park, as if that's what I like to think about it. Like if we took Raceway Park, copied it, and made it our own, but with, you know, the inclusion of a drag strip, because apparently, you know, everyone wants to go drifting instead of driving, but whatever. I'm not gonna, that's another topic for another day. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But
I'm actually supposed to have Chris Knapp on, and I do want to talk about that with him.
Yeah, it's honestly, like, I personally like I'll touch on it real quick. I love the concept of drifting. I want to learn one day, but I feel like there would have been a really there would have been a way for drag racing and Formula Drift or anything of the drifting, like area of driving and motorsports to coexist at Raceway Park. Like, I don't know why there was a need to get rid of one for the other. That's my personal take on it. I feel like the satisfaction that we're all missing these days is the fact that there's nowhere local for us to really be able to enjoy our cars.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know if you've heard, someone just bought out Atco, and Atco got torn down. Atco got torn down. That was, it was like a week and a half ago or something like that, maybe like a week ago. But like,
dude, I'm a week behind the news.
Come on, dude. Gotta keep up, bro. But yeah, Atco's gone now too, and it's just crazy, like I did not grow up, unfortunately, at a time where I could take my car to Raceway Park and drive it around. And I like I can maybe take the road course, but like, bro, that's not no WeatherTech Speedway. That's not Silverstone. That's it's Old Ridge Raceway Park. It's a small loop, got a couple turns or something, but that's it. And I'll get some satisfaction out of that, but I get more satisfaction driving down Amboy Road over here from end to end, and I'm fine with that. Like, I actually have a list of there was like this one period of time where I was taking every car that I could and just running end to end sprints on the car on Amboy Road at night. Yeah, and I have a list of times. I have to find it. It's somewhere in my notes or something,
sweet.
but I have to find it. And it's just like a list of times where I just have like all the times and all the cars and how fast I was able to run from end to end. And cool things like that.
There's two Amboy Roads. There's the one that goes between Tennant and what is it, Texas? Or not Texas?
Texas, yeah.
It is? Okay, yeah. Tennant, Texas, and then there's the other one that goes from 516 in Old Bridge to 34. And that's also a fun Amboy Road too.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard of that Amboy Road. The only Amboy Road I know is the one I live off.
That one's pretty fun too. It's got like, it's mostly like kind of straights, so you could pick up a lot of speed, allegedly. But but it's got some curves that it throws in for a good bit of like diversity there. But
I got you.
Throwback to when the other Amboy Road between Tennant and Texas had no speed limit. Do you remember that?
Oh my God! Yes. I remember.
Yeah. That was like right when I first.
It recently got a speed limit.
I thought it was a couple years ago that I got a speed limit.
Oh, I mean, it might have been, but I mean, I know for a fact that when I first got my Q50 back in July of 2018, it was right around then that Amboy Road got a posted speed limit.
Yeah.
Now it's 35. Before, there was no speed limit sign on Amboy Road, and I remember back when I first got my license, my mom had an Infiniti Q40. It's just a G37, rebranded back then. And I remember that was like my car in a sense, but it wasn't like my car. It was just my mom's car that I drove around all the time because I didn't have my own car.
Right.
And I used to take that car on Amboy Road all the time, just gunning. And it was a stock car. It wasn't anything special. But that's what built my love for these Japanese cars. Like, it's just the versatility, the ability for these cars to just do it, no matter what, it does it. And that car was like honestly the pinnacle of all that. That car never had any issues. I abused the crap out of that car, honestly. Shit. But yeah, it was a cool car. I miss it. But yeah.
So why don't we take a quick sponsor break, and then we'll get on to the big discussion about Park and Chill versus Full Send. This episode is brought to you by Torque Detail. Do you just wash your car, dry it off, and call it a day? No, of course you don't. You understand that when you take them to dinner, you have to treat them to dessert too. That's why we trust Torque Detail to provide us with the best products to keep our vehicles looking as clean as they can be. From prep to ceramic protection, Torque Detail has everything you need. They even offer premium, high-quality maintenance products to keep your car looking top-notch even when you're in a hurry. Formulated and made in the USA with over 30 years of detailing experience, you can rest easy knowing you're using the products you can trust. Head over to rebrand.ly/FuelT or click the link in the show notes to get the best deals on some of the best detailing products you can buy. That is rebrand.ly/FUELT. So this is the discussion that I've been having kind of with every guest, but basically Park and Chill versus Full Send. For those of you who don't know, but most of you who do listen are involved in the car community here in Jersey, so you probably have an idea of what's going on, but basically for a while most car meets were pretty chill. Everyone showed up to a lot, hang out, occasional burnout, occasional two-stepping, cops would come shut it down, move to a location, or everyone just goes home for the night. It was kind of whatever. And then these like takeover meets, kind of like what you see like in Cali, like what you would see in like not quite as extreme as like Fast and Furious, because that was like straight up like shutting down multiple blocks to do street racing. But taking over.
That's what they do in Philly.
Yeah, that's what they do. that's not Jersey. But we would take over a location, and not we, but they would take over a location and do burnouts, donuts, whatever, and that would get shut down, and they would all rush to another location. That's been a trend for probably the past year and a half, I want to say. Like, they've been pretty popular. And it's definitely created a lot of conflict in the car community, as we kind of alluded to earlier. And some people are strictly Park and Chill. Other people's are, if you're not sending it, it's not a real car meet. And then there's people like in between who kind of go to both. And you, as being the vice president of Elusive, have an interesting take on it.
So the whole takeover thing, if I'm being honest with you, I get it. I get where they're coming from. I get what they want. I get what they're missing and what they're looking to get. And it's kind of similar to what we were talking about before, having a space for us to do crazy things.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know if you have you ever seen like Hoonigan's YouTube videos or their Instagram videos where they have like like that. Like, imagine we had that.
I know.
That
would be sick.
They want exactly that. Like, they want some place to do some crazy shit, and they just like they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no way to get it. And I guess they're not able to afford it. They don't want to afford it. They just want to ball out, do some crazy stuff, and they want to use public roads as their playground.
Yeah.
Which is a no-no to not to me necessarily. I'm not the real person who's being violated in a sense. It's the government. It's public property.
Yeah.
And the noise, the everything, like the whole hectic nature of these car meets. And that's where it becomes like it's like because of these people, everyone else is guilty by association. This is a classic example of guilty by association, because we all love cars, we all want to hang out, we all want to do, we just vibe. If cops see nice car at night, they follow us, because especially if it's like a few of us in Elusive and we're just driving out maybe to get food or something, a cop might follow us because he's going to think we're going to a car meet or something. And that car meet might be a full send meet. And even if it's not a full send meet, it could be a car meet that they don't want to happen, that they think is going to go bad. And they just make assumptions and they cut it off.
Yep.
That's how it is. And it's a problem, because we're receiving repercussions because of these other meets that are obviously more destructive in nature than our park and chills from other clubs in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole entire like I remember, I don't know if you remember, there was like the beef that Full Send and Jay was having with Los Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
Los Goonies is a very prominent figure in the car community.
Probably in Jersey, probably the most prominent.
Yeah, and they certainly do have a name for themselves, and they just, I feel like they should just support the idea and the notion of peace and just tranquility. Like, everyone just vibe out, just chill, relax, enjoy your cars. unfortunately have not made it out to their last 5 billion cars and coffees, because every single time I happen to have work or I overslept and my alarm's going to wake me up, or like I always had the intention of going, and every single person that went, that like out of my friends that went, especially my friend Ruben that I was talking about, he went all the time, and he every single time he'd come back, he'd be like, yo, I saw this McLaren over there, or I saw this old Porsche, or I saw this and that. And it's like cool, you know, like even these older people are paying attention to the car community. They're coming out and they're showing off their collectors cars.
That's especially
so,
cars and coffees. Like that's
yeah,
a totally different audience than these like nighttime meets.
Exactly. And cars and coffees have been around for a while, and they're more of a exquisite type of car. Like, you know, Sunday morning, everyone's waking up, everyone's off from work, everyone's, you know, doing their own thing, wake up, get some coffee, vibe out with our expensive cars. It's a different atmosphere. It's an atmosphere that we don't get at night, because at night we feel more lawless. At night we feel it's dark. It's the unknown, and the way we try to convey that type of emotion, that type of atmosphere at night, it's very different. And this is where, you know, like the people at Full Send, not like Full Send NJ specifically, I'm just categorizing everyone as as Full Send.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they take it to a whole nother dimension, and they just, I feel like they just blow it all up out of proportion, and they just make it reckless. I personally attend Full Send meets sometimes. Yeah. Like I said, I don't personally have a problem with them. I just know that for a fact, if I was to host one under the elusive name, I would never do it in public property. I don't want any kind of issues with law enforcement. In fact, we try to bond with law enforcement. Right. You know my license plates. Me and my dad donate all the time to cops, and we have multiple cops in our families. And one of my dad's closest friends, he is a cop, or he was a retired police officer in Staten Island. And it's like cops are people who keep us safe. They're doing their job at the end of the day. I don't like when they get mad that cops came and shut down a meet. Cops came and shut down the meet because Karen down the street was complaining, but you also got to remember that Karen down the street trying to sleep at 11 o'clock. Yeah. You know, like she doesn't want to hear your VR6 doing a two-step. No, she wants to sleep. She wants to listen to Fox News or something and go to sleep. Like everyone's got their own their own thing. And noise ordinance technically also it's a legal issue. We're not allowed to do some crazy stuff. Like I know. Do you know the Coles in Old Bridge, correct? Yeah. Right behind that Coles, or next to that Coles, there's the Old Bridge Park and Ride for that bus stop. Yeah. Right behind it, there's that apartment complex. Mm-hmm. That apartment complex is blowing up the cops, the police precinct every single time we host a car meet at Coles, because it's 11 o'clock and some dude decides to two-step or do a burnout. And it's crazy, like it's like that's the one thing that could ruin it, because these people who want to have some excitement and some action, they come to our, not our meets necessarily, but like a chill meet, and they just end up trying to turn it into like a Full Send. Yeah. And that's where it becomes, oh, why'd this guy come here? And when it becomes, oh, why'd this guy come here? It also turns into all his friends being like, oh, why'd this guy come here? He ruined everything. And it goes from there to their entire car club, to other car clubs, to Los Goonies size car clubs. And then it becomes a whole half the community versus the other half of the community issue. Right, yeah. And that is where, it's just kind of like growing numbers of people who believe in one thing and people who believe in another. Yeah. And because of this, we just have this huge mess of an understanding between two prominent groups in the car community. And I just feel like if we had our own raceway park, if we had our own ATCO, if we had a spot where we could go fast and we could just, compete, or we could, see where we could do something better. Like, for example, like right now there's the figure 8 at Raceway Park, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not accessible. It's not I don't know anyone who who can just go there. I don't know anyone who's tried to just go there and try to drift. I know. No, I know.
It's
you
not
can't.
That easy. Yeah.
And
that's like the point of entry is like you either have to pay for the lessons or already know what you're doing. So the point of entry is basically non-existent for somebody who knows nothing about drifting to get into it. Because how you gonna show up to a club loose event and have no idea what you're doing? Like, you have to learn somewhere, and seemingly like right now, like the only way to like get that like on track experience like drifting is to do the drift lessons they offer, which, I mean, they're expensive, like you know, like reasonably so, like, you know, if you're paying for your lessons like from an instructor, like you're gonna pay good money for it. But you know, for like someone who just wants to like be casual about it and just experiment a little bit and see if they like want to even invest in doing lessons, like there's nowhere to do that like legally.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, there aren't any other racetracks or anything like that around us that sort of give us the opportunity. And that's why a lot of these people are taking it into their own hands, and they're going into public lots, and they're not intentionally destroying public property. That's not their intent. Their intent is to just do what the hell they want to do because they can't do it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that is where, police get involved, and there's the legality behind it. That's the issue. But if you put the legal issues aside, they're not really doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like the whole, like according to the law, you can't be vandalizing, but they're not trying to vandalize. You know what I mean? They're trying to just do what they can do somewhere because they don't have a designated safe space to do it.
Yeah.
And they don't have a place where even like a spot like Raceway Park, where there now is a drift course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can't just go there. They can't. They're not able to. And it's even let's go beyond the fact that they're not professionally accredited as someone who can drift. It's also the fact that that like they can't just pull up and you know, like just a nobody. It's like a nobody to the people there. You know, like it's
exactly.
someone from the outside, someone who's not involved with the people who already drift there. He just wants to pull up and drift. I don't think he can, and I don't think he'd want to.
Right.
He or she.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, they wouldn't have that desire, and because of that, there's like that's where this issue just grows even more bigger, and it just grows stronger. And the people who are talented and they know what they're doing, they can't do it because their only spot to do it is a public lot.
Yep.
And like, so back to where we started, I get where they're coming from. I completely get where they're coming from.
It's like a vicious cycle almost.
Yeah. And
there's a desire to do something, but there's not a means to fulfill that desire. Not I would say like a legal and safe means, rather, to fulfill that desire. So then it just comes and it keeps happening because the car scene is put under a certain light because they're doing it in a public lot. And then the car scene gets more and more, or I guess I should say less and less support, you know, from outsiders and stuff. Yep. And it becomes harder to have a simple lot where you could just show up and do stuff.
Yep. Like I remember the whole situation with Best Buy Manalapan. When we were looking, we did a lot of meets over there. Yeah, that's like the OG spot in our area. We did a lot of meets over there. I remember back when I wasn't really a part of Elusive, I still went to those meets. I hung out. I enjoyed myself. And you know, my dad, he's cool with my friends the same way I'm cool with my friends. Like they love him. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's chill to be around.
Yeah, talking to him and everything.
Yeah, he's cool, and he's not like, people don't see him as my dad. People call him by his name. They don't say Mr. Ilishayev. They say it's Russ. You know, like, oh yo, it's good, Russ. Like it's cool because he's like a homie, you know, and people like him who just have nice cars, who are not even necessarily have a nice car, like just an older person who's not necessarily fit with the younger generation, someone who can still come out and enjoy themselves. That's what we used to have. But now there's just such a big divide where people just don't want that anymore. People are too, not afraid, but rather like they're too skeptical to come out. They don't want to have to be sucked into all this negativity and all of this nonsense that's going on. These people that are just constantly feuding with one another, and people who are just constantly trying to start issues or trying to just ruin spots that people, you know, try to set up for everyone else to enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to Best Buy Manalapan, is that whole entire situation. Its downfall was literally people doing burnouts consistently, cops consistently shutting us down, even though they said we're cool with you guys as long as you guys don't do any crazy stuff. I went to the property manager. Property manager, who was always cool with it, said, "You know what? No, I'm not cool with it anymore. You guys are not welcome here. No matter who it is, you guys are not welcome here."
Man.
That's it, and that was the end of it. And we lost that spot. Same way we lost Hobby Lobby and Howell.
Mm-hmm.
And little by little, we're just going to keep losing more spots if it keeps going in this direction. And that's the unfortunate truth, you know?
Yeah.
It's just people who seem to be reckless. And
no, it sucks.
And it's unfortunate because I keep going back to the same thing. I get where they're coming from. Like, I get what the issue is. And I'm not going to solve it by myself. Like,
no, I don't think even just one car club is going to solve it, you know? And hey guys, sorry to cut the podcast short. I was just editing and I realized that the last 10 minutes or so didn't get saved for whatever reason. So I'm really sorry about that. Basically, we were just talking about how all the old spots that we used to have car meets at were getting shut down, and how it all comes back to the need for a place for people to be able to kind of play with their cars and experiment a little bit that isn't a public lot. So we talked about that a little bit more, and then Jason gave a shout out to Elusive Jersey, and then the other car club he's in, GQVQs. So he gave a shout out to them. And with that being said, the podcast kind of ended on that note. I'm sorry again that the podcast didn't save. That's kind of what happens with trying out new formats. There's always things to iron out. But hopefully next time everything runs smoothly. I'll figure out why that happened, and hopefully it won't happen again. But on that note, don't forget to leave a rate and review. That'll help the podcast grow. And I'll see you guys in the next one.